What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Troy Kearns podcast. We talk all things real estate, business, and entrepreneurship. Today, I've got a very special person, somebody who has changed my life, the way I do business and real estate, and has dumped a ton of information on our students in our class. Burton from PropStream, welcome to the podcast. How you doing, brother?
Hey, brother, I'm doing really well. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Thanks, man. And we were just talking right before the show, and you said that you are actually first generation American. And one thing that I noticed about you when you've been on our coaching calls before is that you're super smart.
I appreciate that. That's a huge compliment. I don't know how to take that in, but this is all just self-taught. And I again, in my opinion, no thought is original. I'm just learning from others. What works well, I keep. What doesn't, I throw out. And we just move forward with that.
So tell us a little bit about your story. How did you get here? I mean, like literally here, like to where you're at. Where are you calling from right now?
So I'm in Orange County, California. And how I got here, well, first off, my parents are from the Philippines. I was born in the Philippines, but at the age of about a year and a half, we migrated over to Los Angeles, California, or Los Angeles County, and started there. Preschool, kindergarten, elementary, all the way up to middle school and high school. What's up, Downey High? Anyhow, as I kind of grew up, I kind of was blessed, especially in LA County. It's very diverse.
Right.
And where I'm from, you also have to have a backbone a little bit. So you have to hold your own, but you also have to be smart enough to go from crowd to crowd to crowd. And that was my luxury. I learned at a very young age. I was good at socializing with people, making friends really, really fast. And so I was the social kid. I was the class clown. I wasn't the book smart guy.
Right.
But I was able to took what works and again, go forward with that. So after high school, I tried community college, realized I wasn't a book smart guy. Again, very good at socializing, got into retail, sold video games because that was the thing I liked. Realized it wasn't going to be a career. My ex at the time was pregnant and ended up losing my job. And that's when I found PropStream, 2013. I found a Craigslist ad looking for a tech support rep. I answered the call. They hired me, which I'm thankful for. And I haven't looked back since. Now,
so you're a loyal guy.
You know what? I am. I really am. And I'm proud to say that because I wasn't who I am today when I started with PropStream. And PropStream has seen my personal ups and downs. They've gone through they've seen my marriage, my divorce. My son was born same year I started with PropStream. And so in my tenure with PropStream, same thing with my son. So he's a constant reminder, indirectly of, what PropStream has done. And they've blessed me over the years to do what I'm doing today and be happy with it. So hell yeah, I'm very proud and loyal.
That's cool, man. That touches me for sure. One thing that you said in particular, I wanted to dive a little bit more into. You said that you're really good at making friends. And that is, and then you said you're not book smart, but I think that is a skill in itself. What do you think allows you to build quick relationships? Because that's something that we teach our students in the program is like how to build instant rapport, how to make people like you. And it's really an important skill set that, no matter how good at data you are, no matter how many good at scraping properties you are, if you can't get a seller, and PropStream is a data for finding off-market properties and talking to sellers, if you can't get someone to like you and someone to work with you, they're not going to sell a property at a discount to you. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. You might laugh at this, but I think it's from, growing up in Los Angeles County and sometimes find yourself in areas you shouldn't be at. For me, learning how to make friends real fast, you don't think about it, but it's a collection of a lot of things. So let's start with observation. Growing up in the hood, you have to watch not only, what's in front of you, what's behind you, but also body language. Very important to observe someone's body language, because that's going to indicate whether there's hostility or, there's someone passive or tranquil in front of you. So, when I'm going to an event, first thing I look at is body language. Is this person defensive, or is this person allowing, an opportunity for friendship? So body language is the first thing. Second, it's tone, right? Where I grew up, people are always asking you where you're from, and they don't mean the city.
Right.
So you have to understand the tone that someone's coming at you at. And so I think realizing tonality, whether it's high, whether it's aggressive, whether it's passive, whether it's calm, whether it's low, plays a vital role. So if you mix the two, body language with the tonality together, now you're able to understand the person even more without even, going into further questions into who they may be or who they are. And the third is a little bit of psychology. Once you kind of understand, psychology, not just your own psychology, but others, and have some empathy along with it, understanding how to put yourself in their shoes, I think sky becomes the limit. I think that's where my talent comes into play, how I've been able to make friends like within 15 minutes of meeting them, assuming they want to. Again, it's never perfect, right? There are times where I'm like, okay, this isn't going to go in the favor I want to go. And that's okay. We're not going to always make friends, but the body language, the tonality, and then a little bit of the psychology, but also being empathetic, meaning listening and kind of knowing that it's not just about me, it's about the person across from me. That helps.
So I wanted to interrupt you in this podcast and just take a quick moment to tell you two things. Number one, we do this for free for you. I haven't made a nickel on social media at all. I'm doing this to provide you enough value. So all I'm asking for you to do is share it and give us a 5-star review. It'll totally help us out, and I really appreciate it. The other thing, if you want more free resources like our free Facebook group, it's Millionaire Mentorship Real Estate Investing on Facebook. All you got to do is join it. It's free. It doesn't cost anything, and there's lots of resources there, and we'll definitely give you those for free, no charge. Here's the other thing. If you're serious about investing in real estate and you're ready to take action, I have a program. No matter where you're at in your real estate journey, I can help you out. I don't care if you've got 5 houses, 10 houses, no houses, 100 houses. I've got something that I can share with you that's going to make you a lot of money. And if you want to become financially free and you're brand new to real estate investing, this is the absolute thing you want to do. And here's the thing. What I've learned from most of my students right now is that it's not just an investing program. It's a mindset program. We're going to change the way you think about money. If you want to start investing, make sure you schedule a call with me and my team, and let's get the ball rolling. Guess what else? If you are like, man, I don't got the time and I make tons of money, I just enjoy listening to what you're going to say, that's cool too. We actually have set up a fund where you can invest with us, but you got to be an accredited investor. If you want to find out what that looks like, all you got to do is click the link in my bio, fill out the form. It takes you about 2 seconds, and then we'll let you know about the deals that we're doing. We're doing big deals in Kansas City. And this year, I think we'll do 2 huge deals in Kansas City. I'm looking at a few right now, and I want you to be a part of it. And if you've got more money than time, then that's what you should do. If you got more time than money, then schedule a call with me and my team, and we'll get you into our coaching program so that you can have more money than time.
One thing that I started incorporating after reading a book called Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People, which I've read a bunch of times, it's like, man, the stuff is so literal and so specific. You're like, just call people, Burton, by their first name and listen to what they have to say, listen to their story, and they will like you. And that's like, and what you're saying is 90% of it. And then obviously observing the body language, which 95% of most people communicate through their body language, like whether a woman waves her hair and puts her fingers through it or puts her lips together when she likes you. People are putting 95, or somebody crosses their hands. And I constantly catch myself in that bad habit. It's like, man, they may be defensive and they not be ready for it.
I'm guilty of that too.
Right. And so that's so cool that you have that. Where did you pick that up from? Was it something that you observed from your parents, or did you just kind of figure it out as you went along?
I just kind of figured it as I went along. Trial and error, right? At one point, there were times where I had my walls up and I was very defensive, but also offensive. I would be the one with the aggressive tone or the aggressive body language. Right. And guess what? It led to some brawls, 50-50. Every single one. Either I won it or I lost it, right? And so you realize after a few trials and error, you prefer the success stories rather than the failures. And so I had to tweak my character, my personality a little bit, my approach. And that meant being more patient, listening versus speaking more. And then most importantly, I think at the end of the day is getting out of my own head. Like I could admit at one point, and sometimes to this very day, I'm very selfish, right? And you should be, right? You should be selfish about your health. You should be selfish about your financial wealth, right? But I think when it comes to out there in society, you shouldn't be. That's the only time I think you kind of want to dial that down a little bit and realize there's someone next to me that, either needs my help or has value that can take me from here to here. But you'll never know if you don't have your mind open to that. Right.
That's excellent. I appreciate you sharing that, Burton. So you started with PropStream, and how long have you been with the company? Did you say since 2013 or before that?
Yeah, since 2013. So this would be my 10th year.
Right. And you're still a young guy. How young are you?
Well, I'm in my mid-30s. I look young, but I'm 36.
So you started at 26. You're a new pup. You started with this company that probably many people haven't heard of. I know I've been in the real estate game for a long time, and PropStream has really become a brand name within the last 5 years, and probably more so in the last 3 or 4 years. So 10 years ago, I don't even think I heard of it. So was it a very small company at that point in time?
Very small. We were probably less than 10 employees, all located in Orange County, a few remote, our devs, our hardware guys. But we were software. As a matter of fact, I always keep this as a reminder. This is PropStream way back when, and you can see, the processor you needed to have a CD drive, hard. Yeah, it was very raw, and obviously we didn't have what we have today. So I keep that as a reminder of where we were from, where we came from and where we're at today. But we weren't into social media. It wasn't a public thing. Like you had to know a few people to get a hold of PropStream. And so when I joined, my goal was make sure that thing works when those that are using PropStream are using it. But I think that was where it all came together, is because people would call me with their tech issues, and Social Burton's coming to help you. And I would ask them what they were doing. Like, who are you? What was your past? What are you doing with our product? What's fixed and flipping? What's short sells? What's sub 2? What's wholesaling? Right. So I was learning as I was helping, and
you were soaking it up.
You have no idea, man.
Yeah.
And I would say about 3 to 4 years into it, around 2016, 2017, I decided to take real estate courses. I was like, you know what? I love what I'm doing. I think I would love it more if I actually knew what our users were using it for.
Right.
And so I decided to just dive into real estate. And so started reading books. Shout outs to Brandon Turner at Bigger Pockets. I was reading a lot of his books. Saddleback Community College real estate program. I was going to take in that learning real estate principal practice. So I just really dove into the different industries that would use real estate data, from lenders to contractors to investors to agents. And then here I am today.
That's awesome, Burton. So when you started with the company, did you start with the founder? And I've never asked who is the founder, and what was his mission statement or her mission statement? And how has it changed and transpired from the CD-ROM? Because it kind of, when you showed me that CD, I instantly started thinking about when I first got into the social media, and I felt like I kind of missed it. And I'm realizing, like, I'm telling my guys, get a server. And I'm realizing, like, nobody's using a server anymore. Everybody's using like the cloud, right? Yeah. And all of this technology has just kind of swallowed us up in the past 5 years, really, where there is no CD-ROMs anymore. Everything's a downloadable file. So how did PropStream start, and what I don't know who invented it, but I'm sure you know the story better than I do.
Yeah, most definitely. First off, the founders like to keep themselves very, very quiet and in the shadows. So shout outs to RNN, the two founders that founded PropStream. But their main objective was to fulfill the need of what real estate professionals were doing before, all this stuff. And what was that? It was physically collecting data. So before this technology, it was go to the county and go grab your records and then bring them back to the office and manually filter those records. And, oh, by the way, if you want to know what's on and off market, go get a realtor or be a realtor. That was the need or the void that they thought that they could fill. And so they took a huge risk. They decided to create a product that would take public records and give you a user interface. So rather than spending the day or 2 or 3 at the county, you can just install the software on your computer through a CD drive, pay the monthly subscription, and you'd get access to pre-foreclosures, foreclosures, and some property records at the time. Awesome. And so it had a great foundation. And personally, I think it stood the test of time. PropStream was founded in 2006. So you could only imagine, this was 2 years prior to the big market crash.
Right.
But what happens when there's a market crash? You get more distressed homeowners. And so data implodes. And so I assume I wasn't around at the time, but I can only imagine they didn't close their doors. Instead, they opened their doors even more. And so their team grew a little bit more, about 7 years. After they first opened their doors in 2006, I came on board. So while most companies were still kind of struggling through that recession, they were building. And so I joined the team in 2013, still software based. We kind of kept it in autopilot, and meaning, hey, it's doing well. There's no need to make any major adjustments. But we realized around mid 2015, 2016 that we needed to ditch the CD and go straight into webinar version. So PropStream 2.0 was released. And so what PropStream 2.0 was to take this old format, which required a CD, and put it on a website. So no more having a CD. You can just go to PropStream.com, log in, and you would have access to not just the data that we have, but more data. And then for the first time ever, we also included marketing components. And that was skip tracing to get you phone numbers and emails, as well as the postcards and emails as well.
For those that are listening, and everybody who is listening right now, make sure that you guys give Burton a 5-star review and subscribe to this podcast. He's generous with his time. He's been super respectful every time he's come on and really given hacks. And we'll get into that a little bit more in terms of what are the best ways, because he sees, when you're investing in real estate, you're looking just in your own mirror, so to speak. And you're like, all right, well, I invest this way and this is what I like to do. But when you're dealing with someone like Burton, who sees how everybody across the nation invests, he's going to pick up all the best habits, just like he picked up all the best social cues. And me, somebody who's like, okay, I know this guy I know Burton understands this information. I know he knows what people are using. So what are people using right now how are people using PropStream the best way to get the best data?
Well, right now they're obviously, I guess let's categorize the user first and foremost. So assuming we're talking about someone who does maybe fixing and flipping or wholesaling, right? And I like to categorize those two together because they require equity, right? Strategy requires the distressed homeowner, to have equity. That way, when we buy the property at a discount, there's still equity to be made after the fix and flip, or we assign the contract.
Right.
So for those individuals, they're still going at it in the traditional sense, which is let's grab a list. And usually they'll choose either a pre-foreclosure list or your traditional, what I call categories, like your tax liens, your delinquencies, your tired landlords. That strategy will always remain the same. So fix and flippers and wholesalers, you can continue that process with PropStream, right? Pick a list, just make sure it's off market, has that minimum amount of equity so you can do your exit strategy, and then the property and owner characteristics. What I will say is that you can do some unique things in PropStream that doesn't require always picking a list, right? Before you do any of that, just make sure that your list is off market, has the equity you need, and the property and owner type that you're looking for. But now start considering these outside of a list scenarios. Like we have a filter that's very popular as of lately, and it's in our mortgage info section. It's the interest rate type filter. And so what I can do is look for everybody that's off market with, let's say, 7 years of ownership that has an adjustable rate right now, because adjustable rates usually are no longer fixed after 5-7 years. So when the interest rates go up like they are now, their mortgage payments go up. Now, some of them are going to be able to take care of that. Some of them are not. For the ones that are going to not be able to take care of these new mortgage payments, that's when the bankruptcies start getting filed. That's when the pre-foreclosures start getting filed. That's when a divorce might happen. So most of us are used to, let's wait for a list first and then go after that list. Right. PropStream, you can go after that moment beforehand. Another example is like East and West Coast in the last few months have been bombarded with weather issues, right? The West Coast got a lot of rain. East Coast got really cold, a lot of snow. That puts a physical toll on properties. So if you're on the West Coast and you were in a wet zone in the last few months, you should be looking for all the properties built 20, 30 years ago in your market that are owner occupied or non-owner occupied, right? Reach out to these homeowners. Some of them might have experienced a leak for the very first time, right? They're either going to need to take care of that roof themselves, or they don't have the budget, and so therefore they need to sell. But these are not pre-foreclosure owners. These are not liens. These are not tax delinquencies. They're just homeowners that need a new roof that's going to be expensive. And that might be the motivation to sell. So investors that are wholesalers and fix and flippers, that's the maintain strategy, and continue that. But due to the market shifting, and we don't know where it's going to go, we're starting to see a rise. I'm starting to see a rise in the creative side, subject twos, lease options, short sells. And so what I'm seeing, not only in a rise in that strategy, but I'm seeing a rise in people pulling failed listings with no equity, homeowners with multiple years with little to no equity, homeowners that have multiple properties that are individually owned, seeing if they want to sell before the market goes down and their portfolio goes down. So just a little out of the box thinking, where all you're doing is still looking for a situation, just lower, perhaps negative equity. And that's what I'm seeing right now in terms of those two categories. The wholesalers and fix and flippers still maintaining their main routes, just maybe add a little bit of that situation building, while the creative side, they're pulling the failed listings and low equities right now.
Yeah, and I think you hit on a key major point that most people, I don't know if they picked it up, but this is something that I always tell people who are asking me how I find great deals off market. I apply all the principles that you just mentioned, but I find the pain. And when you find the pain, you find the deal. And, the other day I'm running an ad on television, and this lady answers my phone call. And my job, as we mentioned about the social cues and all of these things, first, when I show up to the appointment, she's got her friend with her, right? That's obviously, I'm worried about you showing up, whoever you are. And then very early on, she says, the neighbor screwed me and I've been in litigation for the last 2 years. And so that's the pain right there, right? And so I told her, and I think that this is going to touch on, identifying a great deal, but then not closing it is one thing. The way to close it is to find the pain. And so how you find the pain and then you solve the problem. So I knew that this lady here, she said, well, I know my house is worth $200,000. I know it might be worth more. And this house was in perfect shape. She says, but, I'm not, and I'm like, well, I have to buy it to make money because that's what I do. And I think a lot of people are, when they first are starting out, they feel like I can't say that because it's a secret. Nobody thinks that I should make money. And, Burton, I think that people understand, especially sellers, that you as a buyer are buying it to make money. And so the sooner you get that out of the room and you say, yeah, I can't, if I buy it for what you're asking for, I can't make any money, and that wouldn't be a very good business for me. So I first identified, like, if I buy it for what you're asking for, I can't make any money. But what I can do is I can give you a fair offer. A fair offer is what I consider a fair offer and what she considers a fair offer. And I can delete that nitwit here who gave you a bunch of problems. and I can squash him like a bug, and you won't, and I can close quickly, and I can give you a fair offer of 145,000. And she said, well, I don't think that's acceptable. But, I said, well, let me think about it. Right. And so I went back to the house, realized that the house, was in pretty good shape. I might be able to get 200, 220. So I said, you know what, I could come up to 150 and I can close in 2 weeks. And I'll be honest, I'll be trustworthy, and you'll have everything that you need, and you'll know it. And it's up to you. And I definitely think that you could get more money, but at least for understanding me right now is that you'll have somebody. And I said, you'll have somebody that's honest and trustworthy, and you'll have somebody that will close in 2 weeks, and this headache will be gone of yours forever. And she called me back, and she was smiling like a peacock. And she says, I will do that deal with you, Troy. And then, funny enough, my lender who's funding the deal says, Troy, I like that house you got. Can I buy it from you for 200,000? And he knows I bought it for 150. I haven't even touched the deal yet. And I'm like, yeah, okay, well, here we go. And somebody called me today and they're like, well, are you going to wholesale it to him? I said, absolutely not, because I told the lady that I will close on the property. So even though I'll lose a little bit of money by closing on it and paying a double close fee, I'm not screwing my reputation up with her by not closing on it, because you got one reputation in life. And if you don't do what you say and you go and chase that money, then she's going to remember that. And she's going to say, that guy could have made money by closing it and selling it. Instead, he got greedy and he wholesaled it and he lied to me and he didn't do what he said. And so finding the pain and then being honest and trustworthy with people, they have no problem with you making money. It's when you lie and they feel deceived and they feel that you didn't tell them the truth is where you get yourself in a pickle. And I think that boils down to what you said earlier, which is being open and listening to what people have to say. They're okay with you making money.
I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Make sure you give us a 5-star review. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share this podcast with a friend, and make sure that you schedule a call with me and my team. We have the Millionaire Mentorship Program. This is for newbie and advanced investors to get started investing in real estate. And if you're listening to this podcast right now, that's exactly what you want, right? You want to learn how to invest in real estate. It's changed my life. It can change your life. And we have a program that'll help you get your first or next investment property within the next 90 days, or I'll pay you $1,000 cash and you don't pay. Guess what else we're launching? We're launching a fund. And if you're interested, I'll include a link in my bio to this fund where you can actually invest with me on a lot of the properties that we're in. In fact, I'm in one of my properties right now in downtown Kansas City, in a building that I bought using my own money, but I started with just one property, and you can do the exact same thing that I did, but you got to get started. You got to take action. So whether you want to invest with me in my fund or whether you want to schedule a call with my team, both those links are in the bio. Enjoy the show. Give us a 5-star review.
You mentioned also earlier something that I found, that you're starting to get the real estate bug. Like you said you took a class at the, I think it was the Saddleback College that you went to Beardy Brandon. A lot of people have got their Bigger Pockets hat on. They like that show. He's really built it. And funny enough, he's been around so long that when I first started doing REO, I went to his chat boards, and that's really where I cut my teeth in REO. And I was finding banks and finding these types of people. And this is in 2006, right? And so that's how long that platform has been around. And I was going to ask you, what are your short-term and long-term goals with real estate?
Well, it's funny that you say. So in the last maybe 4 years, I've gotten that question even more now because, as I travel, people are like, hey, you know so much about data. Why aren't you utilizing that to your advantage? Well, I will say that I can at any point, which is a great thing. But if I did, I wouldn't be here right now. My obviously loyalty is very strong with PropStream. So what I am doing is I'm just stacking right now. Let's face it. They're paying me pretty well. It allows me to stack and stack and stack. And I might just actually bypass the outbound marketing, where I physically do the outbound marketing myself, right? That means pulling a list and skip tracing it and doing the cold calling. I might actually just, with all the people I meet, like yourself, Troy, just do some syndication instead. Park my money with somebody that I can trust. I know, like we say, I'm just making sure I can read the body, read the mind, read the person. And once the trust is really strong, park my money there and get a good return. Because something that you mentioned, about that lady that you were helping, you took a loss on it, but you took a loss because you knew that your credibility will have its dividends in the long run, right?
Right.
And I keep telling people, real estate is not a trial period. It's a career, right? So when you decide to get into real estate or become a real estate professional, it's a career decision. Like I'm here for the long haul. I'm not here for 7 days and I'm going to make a deal. And now I'm on this TikTok video showing everybody my Ferrari and stuff. That doesn't happen. As a matter of fact, a lot of those guys are renting the cars, by the way, or it's their friends, right? So anyhow, yeah, I know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's why I actually got on social media is I saw so many people, Burton, that were just misrepresenting how it works. Like I'll even shout out a little bit, like shout out Graham Stephan for completely telling everybody you need a 780 FICO score to get started in real estate. And I was like, that is absolutely not true. And there was other guys I saw that, they were like, oh, I did 2 deals. I'm a coach now. And I'm like, this is crazy. And then, I bought my first new car at 40 and I could have bought a lot nicer cars way early on, but I come from probably the same old school philosophies that you have is like, pay yourself first, stack the cash. You know what I mean? And a lot of these guys, they make their money quick and they lose it quick. Just like the guy, Mike Tyson, who's still trying to chase that money because he doesn't understand the principles of money. Now, you mentioned something, and I do want to touch on it. We are in the process, and this is just for anybody, not just for you, but we are in the process because one thing I have learned from starting a coaching program, Burton, is that a lot of people don't want to actually do deals. They are like, you know what? I thought I did, and I don't. And and I make great money over here, and I don't want to go over there. And so they realize the benefits of real estate. So I actually am in the process. I just had a podcast with this individual. I found a person that I really trust, and him and I have unique skill sets. I'm really great as a deal finder. We know that because him and I have been chasing the same deals, and he's an architect by trade. And so he's completely analytical. And this guy has done what is called tax increment financing, where basically we take these old historical properties here in Kansas City. And if you don't know what's going on in Kansas City, it's completely different than Los Angeles and Orange County where you're at. They have all this old housing stock in the Midwest, and they have all this old office buildings in the Midwest. And so what they're doing is the state allows for you to get 45 cents on the dollar of any sort of rehab budget that you put into a property. So let's say we bought a property for $5 million. And we go in and we do like a syndication deal like you talked about, where we become the GPs. We can actually get 45 cents of the money that we spend on historical tax credits. We can either sell it to like a bank at 90 cents on the dollar, or we can use that as tax increment financing to finance that deal. And all of those dollars, if people are wondering, like, how did that deal get done? How did that deal get done? Those are syndication deals. And the cool thing is it's all for historical properties. And most of these historical properties in Kansas City, they're all these old office buildings that aren't office buildings anymore. Yeah, in fact, I just bought one for $5.2 million in downtown Kansas City on the corner of 10th and Main. And we chased that same deal. But yeah, it's cool that you mentioned that, because we're just about ready to start my fund where we're going to be doing that. And that's one of the reasons I got on social media, is because I was like, there are so many con men, so many people who are going to take people's money, like these NFTs. Want to talk about that? I mean, holy crap. That's a Ponzi scheme.
Dude, it was here and now it's gone, right? Like that all the people that were pushing it, I don't see anymore. So, you know what I mean? Will it come back? I don't know, right? Will it be good in the future? I don't know. But I know right now, a lot of people that did invest are not happy with their portfolios. And that's just the reality. Now, is it a long-term play? I don't know. It's so new. No one really knows, right? It's not like real estate where if I park my money in 1960, I can tell you right now that money is quadruple what it was. We can't say that.
Orange County. I mean, like, think about it. Like, I looked at one point in time with your service. I went and looked at properties. I think it was one of the beach towns. It was Orange County. It was either like Newport Beach or Manhattan Beach. And I went down there and I looked at the houses, and the original owners were there, and they bought it in like 1967 or 1972 for like $50,000. And now these houses are worth $5 million, right? And nothing changed except for demand. The location didn't change, but Orange County has continued to be a place that people want to live. And it's really cool to see that. And that's why I tell people, is like with real estate, you don't have to go and bet on something happening. You don't have to bet on an NFT going right. You don't have to bet on a crypto going right. Time is on your side. Time is on your side. And so, okay. So I do want to get a little bit more into like PropStream, because we're doing this podcast to shine a spotlight on what a good software PropStream is. And I constantly, as everybody's telling me, like, use this software, use this software, I keep going back to PropStream, and I'm realizing how good of a tool PropStream is. And I was one of the late adopters. I'll be honest with you. I was a late adopter, and I had used some other platforms, and PropStream just keeps getting better and better and better and better. And skip tracing was something I was doing before. Like, I was doing it the way you talked about. I used to have my wife sitting in the car. We'd write the iPhone notes. She'd write down the address. I'd come back. I had TLO. I'd skip trace it. I'd contact the owner. Now with all this data, you have the SMS blasters. You can export that data from PropStream. You load it into a place like, what is the one that we use? I always forget the name of it. Launch Control. We load it into Launch Control. We blast them out through SMS. We use PropStream to skip trace them. We take that data, we put it into Launch Control. Where do you guys see that? Where do you see the future? What is the company talking about? I mean, obviously non-proprietary information that you can't release, but stuff that you guys are talking about, like, that you want to bring to the customers.
Ultimately, user interface is always one of the things we look at. Our comfort, the psychology. Some of our users are working 9 to 5, right? And they get home and they want to change the course of their life, right? But they had this whole 10-hour, sometimes 8-hour shift of stress. So One of the biggest things that we always constantly look at is our user interface. And that's even the smallest things, from like the font to, the news, to the images that we utilize, to the slight details, because we want you to feel comfortable when you're utilizing our product, right? There's certain reasons why we use certain colors in our user interface. So that's the first thing. The second thing, which is going to be kind of out of our control a little bit, is just a frequency of data. Now, as the demand of data gets better, right, or bigger, I should say, the collectors of data get better.
Yes.
One thing that most people don't realize is that as much as we'd like to collect, every piece of data that's physically out there, we can't. There's just no logical way to do that, right? The logistics is just out of the normal. But there are some big companies out there that collect that data. Some huge title companies, CoreLogic, a few as an example, I think First American, are just kind of names out there that have been collecting data because they've been doing title for such long time that the data just sits in their domain for such a long time. Now, when the data of, like, let's say I need pre-foreclosures, or when they realize that their consumers want pre-foreclosure data, guess what? They're going to better their technology to collect pre-foreclosure data. And then we have to go get that data. But the hard part, what people forget, is that LA County is not the same as, Kansas City or Miami. What I mean by that is the technology that's there.
Right.
So some of these counties are hardwired. What it means, like, when a property sells, it can get that recorded to the public in 5 days or a week's time. Some other counties don't have that luxury. They're still on paperback, meaning it could take 30 days, 60 days to record a sell. And so a lot of the times people think, it's us. Hey, I just sold my house, Burton. How come you guys don't have the records? Well, when did you sell my house? I sold it last week. Your data is inaccurate. Well, time out here. We don't create the data, we collect the data. And as of right now, there aren't any new deeds from the county reflecting that sell. And therefore, the data remains you as the previous owner or as the current owner. And we don't see the new owner as of yet. So there are limitations that we can't control, but our main objective there is frequency. So we're always looking at better technology. We've upped our hardware. We're always looking for better data aggregators or repositories and bringing that information in. And in the last few months, we saw a few of that. We started DNCing your phone numbers, so you now know who's on the do not call list. We reorganized your skip tracing results, so the most recent number shows up first. Added some new filters like that mortgage data filter, so you can search by mortgage type and interest rate types. And then we are only the ones, I think, that brought back that MLS data. So earlier in 2022, last year, third-party programs or platforms like PropStream were restricted from showing sold MLS data. Our team figured out a creative way to show you that data. And all we did was we took the data that we can't show you and just knocked it off by 1%, right? Because they said you can't show the sell price. Well, you didn't say anything about a 99.9% price, right? Or an estimation.
Yeah.
So we got really creative. And that's really what our objectives are, is make our users feel comfortable when they log in. When they're comfortable, obviously retention increases. From a company standpoint, that's good. Provide resources for them, which is always a thing. Customer support is a top priority. And then frequency of data. And then obviously things I can't share is what we're currently working on to blow your mind in the near future.
That's super cool. I can see why you've stayed with the company. It's not stale. It's a place where, just judging by your awesome background, and I apologize for mine, folks, that they allow you to be yourself. And you've got a great personality. They put you in the right role, Burton. One thing
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I will add this.
Yes,
it's the first company where I could sleep very happy at night. And the reason I say that is that most of the companies I worked with, you're selling a product and you step back and you look at that product you just sold, and does it do the community a favor? Probably not, right? And I know some of you guys are watching this right now thinking that. When I got into PropStream, not on purpose, literally by accident and by desperation, as you heard my story, I realized that our platform is providing data to investors like Troy, who then use that data to save someone from losing their home, right? So it's a win-win, and obviously I win situation. And for the first time ever in 10 years, I've been able to sleep very, very well. So that's my reasons why I'm here and I stay here, is because I love what we do. We help you help others, and that's always going to be a good thing for our community.
So my favorite data, as we talk about it, there's three types of favorite data, and I always break it down to kind of what you talked about, how you can help people, and also the pain. Like every time I've chased, and I was thinking about this when you were talking about the counties, because I buy a lot of properties in Mississippi and the data sucks. And I'm sure you know that, because there's some of those counties in Mississippi where they are hand recording it and hand writing it. Okay.
Yeah.
And so it's impossible if you're getting data to go and get that data, because they might have some backwoods guy who's got to deal with the county that he's the data aggregator. And if he decides not to do it that month, then you're not getting it. And trust me, that's the case. And if you want to know who that is in Mississippi, it's Delta Computer Systems. But the point is that when you chase foreclosures, you've got a couple things going on. And we talked about this at the beginning. Life happens to everybody. And it could be me, and it could be you, and it could be somebody you're talking about right now. But life happens. Life has seasons. And somebody like the lady I talked to, she was in the season of not wanting to own that house anymore. She wanted peace of mind. She wanted enough money to go pay off her condo, and she wanted to move on with her life, and she didn't need the money. And people don't understand that. Like, they always feel like, oh, that person's financially motivated. No, they're not. If you're asking them about price, then you're going to pay the highest. And if you're asking them about what their plans are, or what their objections are, and you don't talk about price ever, except at the end, then you're actually going to create a deal. And one of the things that I wanted to talk with you guys about is that there are a lot of people think that once a property goes to tax sale, that it's dead. But most states have a redemption period. And that redemption period allows investors like me, so if I'm a homeowner and I lost my house through a tax sale, I might think, because I would not say uneducated, but miseducated about that process, saying, I've lost it. The county came and took it. They sold it off to a third party, and that third party has it. But if I go in there, and I've done this in New Orleans, where we actually represented a homeowner who had lost their house. We spent $50,000 like we were the homeowner, fighting the tax sale, cut him a check because he had already lost the house. And then we got the property back, and we had already put our purchase and sale agreement in with the attorney. So the minute that we got that property back and fought the court case and won, we were able to close that escrow. And it was us fighting behind somebody else, and they were the representative, but we were really the financier. And my point in that is that people, if you are trying to make money in real estate, understand that it's not just the people who are behind on taxes right now. It could be the people who have already lost their property in tax sale. And if you know those states' laws and realize that they have a redemption period, and you contact them. I remember one of the craziest deals I ever did. I had these folks in New Orleans, Louisiana. We've done a lot of investing there. And New Orleans, Louisiana, I'm sure you know, is like one of the hardest states to probably aggregate data because it's Napoleonic code. And Napoleonic
they
code,
have providences there.
Parishes.
I don't think they're called counties. A parish, that's what it is. Yeah, parishes. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so they have parishes. Everything's French law. And so what happens, Burton, is when you die, they force it's called forced heirship. So if you had like 10 brothers and sisters, it'll get divided just without your will. And so with this particular property, there was 22 heirs. And so one person owned like 1/12. One person owns like 1/272. So I was trying to work a deal before it got lost to tax sale. And in New Orleans, when it gets lost to tax sale, you're kind of screwed because it's already had enough time to do that. And I think this was like the third tax sale. So they were out altogether. Finally, I realized that these people were not going to do a deal until they lost it. So what I ended up doing is I got the 22 heirs and I sent them all a deed. And I said, you've already lost the property. You're not going to get anything. You can either sign the deed and I'll do what I said I was going to do before, which is give you the money and you can take my word for it, or you can just let it go and you're not going to get nothing. And I got 22 people to sign over a deed to me. So I transferred the ownership into my one interest. I paid everybody. I think the total payout was $100,000. We ended up making $100,000 on that deal or more. And one of the people was in prison that we had to get to sign the property. So you see all of these psychologies of people, and and there's always a cool story because nobody else is solving that problem. Nobody's getting 22 people to sign a deed over to them. But the solution of real estate and the relationships that you build in real estate, and I still have people that call me today that they're like, hey, Troy, I know you can help me out because you helped out my friend. And they know that I'm making money for this, but they don't want someone, they don't want to be picked on, or they don't want, maybe, you know what I mean? They feel like the county's picking on them. They feel like the state's picking on them, and they need someone to stand up to them. And they need somebody that knows the rules and the laws. And that's why a lot of times I get the deals. And it's not just finding motivated sellers, but as you get better at this game we call real estate, it's not just the monopoly of buying Baltic Avenue and then moving on to Oriental and then moving on to Park Place. What you actually do is you get to pull up the chance cards and you're like, oh, cool. I got to deal with this seller who might have other people. And one of the number one questions that I always ask people, Burton, is, do you have any other properties or do you know anybody else? And you'd be surprised at how many people have lots of properties.
Well, I hate to say it, but sometimes someone said it struck upon me. Someone said, you ever heard that saying, birds of the same feather? And yes. I was like, yeah, he's like, when someone has an issue, they probably know a same person with the same issue. And again, it's not to say that, they're bad, they're negative, they're irresponsible. No, it's just, I don't know what it is, universe talking to you, but when someone's going through something, ask that question and you'd be surprised. They probably know someone who is going through the same thing. And I say that too, because, when I was younger and I wasn't going through some very happy moments, obviously you're not looking for happy moments. You try to connect with things that are also not unhappy. So you're trying to look for someone else that's also unhappy so you can compare your unhappiness to their unhappiness. Well, for you guys, that's a good thing, right? Because now Burton, who's unhappy, which you could make happy, knows someone else that's unhappy and you can make that person happy. And now two people are happy because of you, right? So birds of the same feather, right? It's a very, very powerful statement that resonated with me.
Yeah, birds of a feather flock together. And that's it. It's kind of the same thing. I used to drink. I haven't drank since 2007. But when I drank, I hang out.
Congratulations, my brother.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, when I drank, all my buddies were drunks. And so, that statement is true. And when you like to do certain things, you hang out with other people that do those things because that's who you want to be around. And that's why I always tell people, like, if you're hanging around with a bunch of dopes or a bunch of drunks or a bunch of other people, and you're expecting your life to change, you're having the same people that are telling you the same things. You got the people who don't, and we know this because we know human psychology, Burton, I think, is that a lot of people that are your friends that are right next to you don't want you to succeed. In fact, it would not make them happy because it would mean that they were not successful. So the fact is, as long as you're right next to them, not being successful, it makes them just happy enough. But once you start going up there a little bit, they're like, I don't really like you anymore.
So true. Yeah.
I'm sure you've witnessed it with your success, with all the success that you've had, you've probably had to change some friendships.
No, even my friends now, I look at it now and I look back and I look at my text messages that I'm getting and my DMs that I'm getting and just the people that call me on a weekly basis. And they're all real estate professionals, right? And looking back to where I was 10 years ago, that was not the case. And so, yeah, I'm pleased. I mean, I'm helping thousands, and the people I speak to, like you, Troy, are helping another 1,000. And so this is the right bubble to be in for me. I love it. I feel really good. I get to sleep at night. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Well, that's awesome. I want to wrap things up. I know you've been more than gracious with your time. Let's just, for those of you guys who are listening right now, obviously give Burton a 5-star review and subscribe to the channel. And if you're trying to get started and you're looking for something to help you, maybe you just need a little bit of something. I know that PropStream is super generous with promotions. Do you have anything going on, Burton, that we could potentially post in this link to help somebody get started?
Yeah. So you have your affiliate link. Make sure when you guys sign up with Troy's link. You'll get a 7-day trial and you actually will get a discounted price. So don't go straight to our website. If you did jump the gun, please call our customer support so we can take care of that for you. And then right after you sign up, I recommend you guys to join our PropStream Academy. It's a free resource. As a matter of fact, when you sign up, you might get an email with your username already created. But there's a course in there that we just launched. It's called the 15-minute course. And literally there's about 7 15-minute courses in there that will teach you how to build your first list, how to market to your list, how to analyze a property, especially when someone does call you back. So those are the first things I'm going to recommend is make sure you click on Troy's link, you get a discount there. And then right after, go to the Academy, take that 15-minute course. And then if you still want to learn more, I do live webinars. So just register to one of our live webinars and let's chit chat and talk PropStream.
Yeah, and Burton's super accessible. He's great with his time. And I can tell you what, we're planning on bringing him back to our course, which we do with our students. That's super intimate, super one-on-one. The other thing, Burton, I'd like to extend on our next mastermind. We're doing one in Vegas actually next week, but on our next mastermind, I'd love to invite you to come speak.
Oh, I would love to if the time permits and everything works out well and weather is great, which it's Vegas. It's going to be great. Yeah, let me know, man. I'd love to be there.
All right, brother, man. All right. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming on the podcast, and we will see you soon.
Hey, if you're listening to this podcast right now, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you give us a 5-star review. And we've got content all over the place, TikTok, Instagram, you name it. But we also have a coaching program. If you are looking for a coach, we have the Millionaire Mentorship, and this is a coaching program where I actually help you get your first investment property within the first 90 days, or I'll pay you $1,000 cash. That's how confident I am to get you that type of result. And I know you might be here and you might be listening, you might be scared, you might not want to take action, but that is not going to get you where you want to be. And obviously, if you're listening to this podcast right now, you want to take action and you're trying to gather the information, but maybe you're confused. Maybe you're just like a lot of people that I talk to. You're scared of losing money. You want to become financially free, but you don't know where to start. And that's exactly what I help you to do in this program. So do yourself a favor, book a call with me and my team, and let's get the ball rolling. The link is in the description. Thanks.